Indiana helps to lead the charge in asking the Supreme Court to recognize states' authority to disqualify abortion clinics as Medicaid providers. Joining me now on Skype to talk more about this is Thomas Fisher, Solicitor General for the state of Indiana. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having me, Tracy.
Absolutely. So I know Indiana is co-leading this effort of 19 states. Now, specifically, what are you asking the Supreme Court to consider?
We need the court to take a look at whether abortion providers and other Medicaid providers can sue states when they're disqualified from participating in Medicaid for whatever reason. In our view, the system is set up so that only the federal government can contest state decisions in that regard, and that it's not up to Planned Parenthood or any other abortion provider to come into court to tell the state how it should run its Medicaid program.
Can we talk about a little bit more about the Medicaid Act? You know, how has it been applied to states in the past, and what would you like to see applied here?
Right. So the Medicaid Act is set up as it's a federal grant program, and it tells states you may, if you like, have a program for funding medical services for the poor and disabled. And if you do it according to certain conditions, then the federal government will reimburse you for a certain percentage of your cost. It's not set up as a civil rights statute where it's a mandate to provide certain rights to different individuals. And the idea is supposed to be that if a state conforms to federal conditions, then the federal government pays money. And if not, then the federal government doesn't pay the money. And it's really up to the federal government and the states to work out those details. So what we'd like the court to do here is to take this case and provide clarity on an issue that has divided lower courts, which is whether the Medicaid providers can sue in federal court to tell states how to run their Medicaid programs.
I know in the past that lower courts invalidated an Indiana law that said abortion providers could not be Medicaid providers. The Supreme Court declined to hear that case. So why do this now? And what makes you hopeful that the justices will hear this case?
Right. And we lost that case a while ago. And since then, many courts have weighed in on the same issue. And now, unlike our case, there is a divide in lower court decisions. There was a case out of Louisiana a couple of years ago that we supported that we had hoped the court would take on this issue, but it fell one vote short, and that was shortly after Justice Kavanaugh took the bench. And we're hoping that this time around, either he or the Chief Justice will be persuaded to take this issue on. We're trying to convince them it's not only about abortion providers, it's about all kinds of Medicaid providers and other federal programs as well. But we think it's a critical issue, and even Justice Thomas last time around wrote a dissent from the denial of the case and said this is an important issue and only this court can resolve what's at stake. And we're hoping that will carry the day this time and we'll get that fourth vote to take the case, and ultimately we'll get 5 votes to win.
Now, according to some reports, the general fund spending on Medicaid in the state of Indiana rose nearly 27% from $1.98 billion in 2014 to $2.7 billion in the 2021 budget. Can you tell us, where do abortion providers fit into all of this?
Well, I think the main thing to consider here is not simply that, it's a huge chunk of the Medicaid budget, but what is it that we want to be spending state money on? And our legislature decided that really any tax dollar that goes to an abortion provider, even for services that are not abortions, and even when abortions are not separately billed to Medicaid, that is an indirect support for abortion. And it's really a matter of the state's legislature setting the values and the priorities for its program. And whether it's because we don't want indirect funding for abortion or because providers, whether abortion providers or others, have engaged in misconduct, there are all kinds of reasons for states to decide how providers should be qualified to participate in Medicaid. And that the main thing here is letting states put their programs together as they see fit.
Well, thank you so much for your time and coming on and shedding some light on this. We really appreciate it. Thomas Fisher, Solicitor General for the state of Indiana. Thanks again, Tom.
Thank you, Tracy.